Morning, everybody. 8:23 a.m. Welcome to my channel. Markets are nuts. Markets are nuts. So yesterday, very big relative weakness in the Nasdaq. Okay. Yesterday, in this market, let me just say this. This market, I've never seen a market like this. I've never seen dispersion like this in the market. I've never seen pockets of the market have crashes and at the same time other pockets hitting all-time highs so consistently. That's why I show you guys that dispersion, okay, in the core 3M. The markets are so uncorrelated. In individual stocks, the volatility is trumping the index, the S&P 500's volatility. Okay? Stocks are crashing, going crazy up individually versus this box we're in the QQQ in the S&P 500. It is insane. Now yesterday, right? This is crazy. Let's just, right before I introduce and do the whole spiel, let's just go over some stocks. I'm going to pull up some daily charts, okay? Let's just go over some stocks. Apple. Apple hit its expected move to the upside yesterday. It's at all-time highs. Now, Microsoft. Okay, Microsoft's been a dog. Okay, and it hit its 100-day moving average yesterday, right? Expect to move to the upside 406. Had a good day. Okay, let's talk about Amazon. Nice day yesterday, right? Heading towards expected move. I actually have an alert set up to go long on Amazon, so maybe I get a pullback, right? Let's continue. Google almost hit its expected move to the upside yesterday. It hit last week's highs. There's last month's highs right here. Okay. Meta. Meta had a great day. Okay. Even Nvidia opened above its previous day's close. It didn't wasn't earth shattering. It's a semi, right? And I actually have alerts going off of Nvidia too, because this is a key resistance area, right? So, but my point is, okay, what I saw yesterday was very weird. Mag7 money inflows, memory and semis outflows. So Microsoft, Apple, Meta, Amazon, Google ripping up, right? And then you have our start off with the DRAMs ETF. That was a bad day for DRAM, right? Now this morning it's down here, 53, breaking this key monthly low, right? That's one. Now we go to MU, Micron. Micron has a key support level right here, 864. You can see I have it on my chart, right? Expected move to the downside is 821. Currently at 860. We are below this key support. Now in options, I would say it's probably 850. Okay. You don't want to break. Well, you already broke this 864, 860. This is not good. Okay, this was bound to happen. Okay, bound to happen. Let's do one more. SanDisk. Okay, SanDisk. Steadily moving lower, right? Key support at 1520. Guess where we're at? 1500. Psychological level, right? Can't lose it. Okay. The new darling, the SK Hynix. KOSPI, the South Korean market. Look at this daily chart because it just started. Okay. We're at 163 right now. We're down here. Okay. Now, the KOSPI, the South Korean market, the South Korean market halted today before a holiday. Okay. Now, let's look at MAGs. This is make my point. Okay. The MAGs ETF. Look at that candle in the daily chart yesterday. Look at that thing. Broke out. Broke out. Right? Look at the MAGs. Now, usually QQQ, the MAGs, QQQ goes where the MAGs goes. Not so fast. Right? Now, why is that? Right? SpaceX is getting hurt. Micron is very heavily weighted. Okay. Now, what else happened today? Taiwan Semiconductor's earnings. Taiwan Semiconductors blow out earnings, but they increased their capex. Market did not like that. They're thinking, does the capex expenditure again justify the AI? Market's saying no. Okay. This run up in the memory stocks was bound to get a nasty pullback. High leverage ETFs are getting outflows, hence probably margin calls. So this is bound to happen. All right. Now, what a hell of an introduction. Now let's get into it. Welcome to my channel. My name is Steven Gonzalez. I use market profile and bond profile to find structure in the markets. Along with supply and demand, gamma shows levels, the most traded price of the year, the month, the week, and the previous day. That's where I come up with my game plans, okay? Now, once that market opens up, I use my market internals to let me know where money is going. With the help of Anchor VWAPs, with the help of a little ICT, gamma flip points, my weekly expected move indicator for Thinkorswim. The points and Thinkorswim weekly expected move indicator is for free on my Discord. Okay. All that wrapped into one gives me my proprietary trading system. Now, yesterday was a Rubik's Cube. Okay. I had two longs, okay, that went break even. The first one was a little earlier on. That thing ripped up. I had about 9 to 10 points excursion right off the bat, and then it hit my break even. Right? Then the next one, break even. Okay. I wanted a short. I had an opportunity, and I really passed it. It hit the downtrend line. I was waiting for a pop. I got it, and I just wanted a perfect setup, and it didn't really come. Then, out of nowhere, some explosion happened to the upside, and to this minute, I don't know what that was. Nobody knew what that was. That threw a curveball. And then on my most traded price of the week, I was like, I want a rejection to 75.90. I shorted. I knew when I got in it, I said, I don't have a good feeling about it. I could have cut it. I did get initial excursion, positive excursion on my short. And I said, I don't have a good feeling about this. I think the market could rip up as I'm in it. And then I got stopped. Now I passed earlier on a trade in my live stream, earlier on. on a short that I said, ooh, this is probably a short. Boom. That was, and then another long I think I passed on that would have made money. So at the end of the day, -1R yesterday, right? This market is very difficult. Very weird when Apple, Microsoft are ripping to the upside, Google, Meta, and the markets are like the QQQ or the Nasdaq is falling. Weird. Okay? Weird. Now, hopefully, you join me every day. Subscribe, set that alert. Give you the market story, the market news, the economic calendar, technical analysis, and always give you the long and short trade scenarios in the Nasdaq and ES futures later in the stream. If you want more in-depth coverage, you're going to join my Discord. That's Confluence Trading. Go to my YouTube homepage, click on the link, and sign up. What are you waiting for? Let me be your indicator. Now, I don't know if some of my community members in here that are good friends of mine are listening right now. I'm not sure if they are. Okay, I am when you're live with me in my Discord. I'm processing a lot of information, and a lot of times I'm saying, you know what? I don't know what to do right now. Right? That's part of my edge, right? Knowing not when not to do something. I do track. Just a little side point I want to make here with my little AI assistant. Past setups where I'm literally going, I am probably going to enter here in my head. I'm like, I see my edge playing out, and then they've been working a lot, and a lot of them have become early on in trading where the volume's high. I'm like, ooh, if this comes here and it comes there, and I know it's probably worth the risk sometimes, and I'm not taking it. And boy, am I missing out. Okay, so come in to the Discord, come join me, right? Even yesterday, I'm pointing out levels. I'll say this is probably a sneaky long, a sneaky short. Those are not setups that I'm like writing down. I'm just calling them out, right? The market is a Rubik's Cube, folks. Rubik's Cube. Okay. So should be going live 9:45 a.m. today. Please come join me. All right. Now let's go to these futures watch list here because this market's friggin' nuts. You got geopolitical risk. You got memory and semis in a little crash. Software is getting love, which was getting crushed, right? Even with IBM's earnings saying that people are buying hardware, which I think was the excuse for people to take profits out of memory stocks. Future watch list, let's get into it. VIX is up 4.34%. VIX is up 4.34%. Crude is up over $80 a barrel, okay? That is not going to help anybody. Even though CPI print was cooler, you think CPI print is going to be cooler if we stay above $80 a barrel? No. 10-year yield is up. That's not going to help mortgage rates. Dollar up slightly, still over 100. Dow is flat. ES is down 0.36. Russell's down 0.47. 30-year bonds are being sold. That's why yields are higher. Gold down 0.65. Nasdaq's down almost a percent. Silver down over a percent. Bitcoin down 1.33%. Ethereum down 2.28. Mag7 plus risk. Here we go. Who's positive? Microsoft. Been a dog. It's been a dog. Okay. Now, up 0.86. Netflix reports earnings after the close. Okay. Google's up 0.5%. Apple's up all-time highs. Craziness. Now, Apple's one who's not doing a lot of CapEx expenditure on AI. They don't have that risk. Okay. Pretty interesting. Now, let's get into the dogs. Nvidia down 1.70. Broadcom down 2%. Coinbase down 2.28. Caterpillar down 2.44. Now, this is a data center build out. Caterpillar, right? Construction down 2.44. GE down 2.87. I think they just reported earnings, I believe. Intel, another stock that's been ripping, right? That is below 100, folks. Down 3.29%. AMD down 3.5%. Micron down 5.5%. Craziness, folks. Craziness, okay? Top sectors. United Healthcare reported earnings, and I am crying because I own that. I think at a share price I want to say in the low threes, the high two, something like that. And I just got scared out of it basically, and I knew it probably was the buy at two something, 260s. I think it went down to, because I was like, this is gonna, and I couldn't hold on to it. So I'm a little sad about this move here. Okay, now besides that, we have Uber, Salesforce members, software getting love. All right, now Goldman Sachs down 0.5%, the mining stock, NEM down almost 1%, Qualcomm down 2.14%. GE Vernova, another data center build out, down 2.87%. Okay. We're going to go granular today. Who's up today? Humana. This is healthcare now. This makes sense, right? Humana up, Abbott Labs up, CVS up. This is all sympathy to United Healthcare. Team Atlassian software, Trade Desk, Palo Alto, cybersecurity, software, Adobe, Intuit, software, Now, software. Get what I'm saying? Merck Healthcare, Viva, software, Coca-Cola, Staples, health, right? Software. Get my point. Okay? Now, dogs. ASTS had a note offering. Now, full transparency, I am in a short position. And I'm be honest with you, this is luck. Okay? I'll be the first to tell you. Now, don't get me wrong. I was short ASTS thinking that it could drop if it went below the 60 or 65s. Okay? I'm loving it. All right? This is just luck, though. Right? Sometimes it goes your way. Had it beautiful setup. Okay? Now, Western Digital. That's your memory. It's down 7.5 micron, right? Memory. ARM, a semi. Bloom Energy broke the 230s. Data center buildouts. Marvell, a semi. Lam Research, a semi. Taiwan Semiconductors down 4%. Applied Materials. Rocket Lab, space. Space. Okay. Intel. United Airlines, Dell, the Vertiv, Data Center Buildout, Oklo, Nuclear Energy. You get my point. Okay. Dogs. Moving on. Sectors. Here's your United Healthcare. Okay. Up 0.96. Communications up 0.16. Staples up 0.16. Dogs. See them. Whew. Whew. Industrials down 0.65. Technology down 1.65, folks. Semis down 2.85. Okay. There is poor structure below that NASDAQ. I don't know if we get there. I don't know how bloody this gets. Okay. I don't know. Let's move on to economic calendar now. We have retail sales came out, initial jobless claims, and markets don't care about that. Let's see here. We have business inventories, NHEB housing index, pending home sales at 10 a.m. Markets usually don't care about that either. Fed Logan speaks at 12:30. All right, let's look at Trump's schedule. Thursday, let's see what Trump has. Okay, at 1 p.m. press briefing by the White House Secretary Leavitt. All right, that's at 1 p.m. That's all I see so far. Talked about the Taiwan semiconductors. Um, Basically, Taiwan Semiconductors opened up their capex. They're building something in Arizona as well, or something. All money, right? And they look to kill margins. They look to hurt margins in the future. That's basically all that's really happening. Let's see here. Nothing to say here. Let's look at some more news. United Healthcare raises 2026 forecast as it controls medical costs. Uber launches 15 billion bid for delivery hero to create global takeout giant. G Aerospace lifts 2026 forecast as airlines keep up maintenance spending. SpaceX sell-off and an ominous sign as lockup expiry balloons were below the IPO price. U.S. fires first shots in new tariffs offensive with 25% tax on most Brazil imports. Okay, KOSPI, I told you earlier, was halted this morning. What else is going on? What else is going on? All right, all right. I don't care anything else here. Let's look at our. I think we could look at our little breadth. Let's look at our little breadth here. Little breadth. Well, first we'll go into my dispersion because this is at an all-time high. Okay, look at this dispersion. Look at it right there. It's in this spread. It's never been this high. Every time you've gotten peaks before, it's marked peaks in the market. Now, again, I keep talking about this because we are going to get a nasty pullback in our markets. This is unsustainable. Now, look, pure dispersion, all-time highs. Pure core 3M, all-time lows. Okay? Markets don't stay down at these levels. It just doesn't happen, and we're getting ready for a big unwind. I just don't know when it's going to happen. That's the golden ticket, right? That's the golden ticket. Now look at real quick. Show you my ASTS. Look at pre-market down at 58. Let's just go into a 1 hour chart here. Look at that sucker. Now these are anchored VWAPs I have. That, my friends, is a big loss right there. Below that 64 area. Whew. Private sale convertible senior notes. Markets don't like that. Okay. So I'm short ASTS. Okay. If we look real quick at a daily chart of ASTS, right? Okay. I was begging on this level right there, that 64s, to break. Big time support level that has not gotten broken in a long time. Okay. Buyers. See these buyers right here? That anchored VWAP all the way back from this earnings is being tested. You lose that, poof, you could go all the way down to 36. I don't know if that happens. I'm just saying. Okay. I am just saying. Let's look at the bullish percent indexes. Okay, first we're going to start off with breadth. After yesterday was friggin' weird. Okay, 20-day moving average, you got to pull back. We're at a 53% above. Now we're middling now, 53% above the 20-day simple moving average. Okay, 50-day, 62%. It makes sense, right? It's the slower moving average. That makes sense. Okay. Now we're going to look at the bullish percent index. Remember, bullish percent index is not based on time. It's based on point and figure charts. Okay, X's and O's, and all right. So it's not based on time. But what's beautiful, it tells you how many percent of the 500 stocks individually are on buy signals. 60% right now. That's why our market, I keep saying, is not doing anything. It's middling. Remember, this is the S&P 500, but we know inside those stocks are friggin' nuts, right? They're schizophrenic. They have their own personalities, multiple personalities. Now let's look at the NDX. Outflows. Look at those outflows. Now we're only at 50%. 100 stocks, 50% are on buy signals. Okay, this is where it's middling. When you get down here into 30, 20%, that's when probably you want to probably start a position on a long. You get up into this area, you probably want to start to look at some shorts. Okay, let's drill down into tech. Big drop off yesterday, 53%. So we're middling. Now this morning, we're going to be more weaker, right? Financials, I've been wanting to short because they've been overheated. Look at this friggin' thing. But they've just had earnings. So I was not going to step in front of the train. Now look at this. 90% of the financial sector is on buy signals. 90%. That is not sustainable. Not going to step in front of that truck. But boy, oh boy. 90? Remember I said that. Now remember healthcare I've been wanting to get into as well. I scared away from United Healthcare's earnings because they were getting overbought. They did, and they take a pullback, but they probably recover a little bit today. I didn't want to touch them because of earnings. Okay? Let's look at our communications. All right, 60%. Remember I was talking about it down here? Or maybe even here. Okay? Meta, Google's been doing good. Discretionary, let's look at that. 45%. Nothing to see there. Let's look at a couple more here. Let's look at staples. 55. Okay. Let's do industrials. 50%. See, so there's a lot of middlings. So you got healthcare, financials, pretty nice. Okay, but really the financials, boy, oh boy. Okay. Let's move on, folks. We're gonna go into the daily charts. Back to the good old SPY. Look at that hammer. Hammer time. Not SPY. Guess what that is? That's last week's close. So guess what we did yesterday? Nothing. This whole week. Zero. Okay? Zero. Now, where are we at now? 751.70. 751.70. We're we're below the midpoint of yesterday. We're at the lower third. It's not looking good. It's not looking good. Now, do we get another weird market where Mag7 rips up again? Apple starts ripping again? I don't know. It just makes it very hard. Okay? Let's look at futures. I mean, I don't know how many times I got to talk about this supply zone. Is this not a beast? Is this not a beast? Look at this. Every time. From all the way back here. Sold, 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 sold. Crazy. To me, folks, this looks like we're going lower today. It just looks like we're going lower right here. Look, you took out this session high, went to last week's highs. You got probably a date with 75.30s. And you do have an ugly daily demand here, which probably won't make this drop very easy unless you really start to cook and gravity takes over. Maybe you go down to the 74.57s. Last week's lows makes it very tricky. But this is not bullish. Okay? Now, moving on. Qs down 1% right now pre-market. I mean, again, what did I say? Daily demand from back here. You notice that you notice something here, right? Notice how I point out the daily supply that ES is slamming into, and that the SPY is slamming into, right? And then I talk about the daily demand that's holding the Qs. And that shows you the divergence in our markets, right? Look where the QQQ went up to this trend line and said, "Hi, how you doing?" Went after that downtrend. Did it touch that supply? Not yet. But guess where we are? 710. 710. Now look, you got what I call a confluence low there. 710. 710 on the QQQ. Mark it down. That is a confluence low. Okay? We are there right now. You break that, say hello to probably the expected move to the downside, 702s. Okay? Where are we now? Where are we now? What did I say? 710s? Yeah, we're right here. We're at the lows of yesterday. We actually broke them for a second and we were gapping down. And guess what? Daily demand, right? So, does it? Do we look how many times we chested this? All right. Now it's futures. Selling futures. I said it. Daily supply. I mean, these bars are disgusting for a daily chart. That is disgusting. That is very odd looking. It doesn't even look right. Like if someone showed me a chart of this and was like, here's the candlestick. Well, I mean, my experience, if someone showed me this is the candlestick chart of the Nasdaq future, I'd be like, is that fake? It looks fake to me. It almost looks like somebody made this and it doesn't look real. The way the price action, it just doesn't look real. Now, what do we have here? Classic descending triangle, right? But you did have this excess here. But you do starting to, this looks like it wants lower. I mean, do we go down here? 28917s. I don't know. I don't know. And it's an ugly, right here in futures, an ugly daily demand. Right here. You have this doji and an explosion up. You do have another demand from the past here. That's why this market is like, ugh. It tries to go up, it tries to go down, it doesn't really get follow through. Notice that? We don't get follow through in this market. That's what makes it difficult, especially for swing traders. That's why, for me, right, instead of playing the SPY and QQQ, individual stocks is where it's at. That's why I shorted ASTS, because those are high flying, moving, like break a level, they're getting follow through. They're getting like there's individual stories played out, okay? Let's go to futures. Futures. Let's go to 1 hour charts now. 1 hours. Okay. So, remember I talked about this yesterday. I said, are we setting up for a balance area? Are we setting up for a balance area? So far, it looks like we are. Okay. Now, look at yesterday. Remember I talked about the 76, what did I say? Yesterday about the 76.15s about, right? This prior resistance. Well, this is the overnight. So yesterday, we couldn't make it, right? And then the market was struggling. And this is where I was like, oh, this is a sneaky short. And we did. We dropped. But guess what happened? 75.90s now is ultimate balance. Now, the most traded price of the month and the week are lined up, folks. They're on top of each other. Huge moves happen out of ultimate balance. 75.90 is the most traded price of the month and of the week. So, okay, so we just came up here, failed again. Okay, right? So we want to punish these longs that have been getting paid. They have not lost money. Once you pull down away from the ultimate balance, big moves can happen. Okay? 75.90 is the level to watch. Because look, wicks, 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 wicks. And look at the up here. You don't have that there, right? This is just buying assets. Woof. Doesn't have a lot of support right there. We'll have to see, right? Now, what I'm going to add to my chart right here, you have a little equal low that I would guarantee you that 75.80s is going to get hit. 75.80s is going to get hit. Now, we do have a little bit of an hourly supply here. Let me add that to my chart. Okay, so that's a little supply zone. Okay, you have a little bearish racket, little. Okay. Now, point out one other thing. This is the anchored VWAP right there from CPI. Notice how it tried to break it yesterday. Recovered. Now look, we retested it. Okay, that just shows the average buyer from the CPI print. We need to close. Notice you don't have closes down here. You don't have closes. You just don't. Let me change this, bring to the front. You do not have closes. Okay? That's key. When you get a close down here, oof. Okay? That's your ES. Let's go to the NASDAQ, which is relatively weaker. And what did we do yesterday? I talked about it again. I said this level, look, resistance, resistance, resistance. And this thing just boom, 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 boom. Took out some bullish value gaps. Talked about it yesterday. I talked about it yesterday. Then I said the 297s, right? Guess what? 297 now is ultimate balance. They're together. And guess what? The market is moving away from it, the NASDAQ. The ES just hasn't followed yet. The ES just has not followed yet. Now, what do we have below this support right here? Below 29324s, you do have a major demand zone. It's pretty big, okay? Pretty big, but you have some poor structure, all right? You have a bullish fair value gap from 29324s to 29226. Okay, if this market starts to get rolling, it will take that out first. It's an inefficiency. Okay, now something just came out making the market pop a little bit. Now I don't know if this is real or who somebody spoke. I just saw a burst of selling in time and sales. I don't know. Okay, what I'm going to add here is a little hourly supply right here. And we do have a bearish value gap right there. Okay. So, we already left ultimate balance in the NASDAQ. Okay, so any pullbacks up into this supply, 297s, that would be quite a pullback to 297. I would say, look at this. Somebody's said something, maybe. 9 o'clock. All right, somebody's liking something. Or it could just be a little bit profit taking. Below 297 is bearish, folks. So you really really all that matters is now last week's lows us all the way down to 289s. I don't know if we make it there. Okay. We'll have to see. That's your hourlies, folks. Now let's get over to market profile, volume profile. This is your market profile, volume profile. I always love to look at the markets this way. It's my preferred way to look at the markets. I can see levels a lot more clear. All right, like confluence levels. Like the 75.80 that I talked about before, right? I said, ooh, that's the level. Look, it's a poor low, right? Same as an equal low. Remember I said that was the confluence low. Okay. There's our ultimate balance, 75.90s. You lose this level, you're probably going to cascade lower. Okay, it's the most agreed upon price. So just picture everybody's doing business at 75.90. It's the behavior of the market. Everybody's trading 75.90. The more you move up, shorts will get hurt. The more you move down, longs will get hurt. All volume profile is people's behavior, the market's behavior. Oh, most traded price? Shocker that that's where we're at. No, it's not a shock. Okay, look at the volume. It tells you right there. It's not a moving average. Okay, it's actually what the market's doing. Okay, so we're going to get into scenarios now. ES, long or short trade scenarios. Okay, what we're going to do here is going to mark off some levels. You see the sweep in the overnight of that poor high right there. I think you might have put a little gravestone on this S&P 500 today, right there. Because this expected right now, what I expect, you're going to take out 75.80 and probably hit the 75.71s, and then you see if you can hit the 75.56s. Okay? That's what it looks like. How does it get there? That's the thing. The market doesn't move in straight lines. It's going to fake you out. Okay? So, we're going to break out the session. Boom. Look at that poor low. Woo. That thing is going to get hit. And again, like I said, the hard thing about trading is knowing when to act, when to enter, when you get in that, let's say, premium if you're going to short, right? Boom. You want to sell your house when the market has high value, right? You want to buy at a discount. So the 75.90, a lot of games gets played there. That's where it's like, ugh, really? But you have to play off this level. It's ultimate balance. Guess what's there too? Week to date anchored VWAP. Guess what the ES has? A month to date anchored VWAP that's green. A week to date V. So buyers are still in control of the month and the week. Believe it or not. Believe it or not. Okay. So let's get into it. So we're going to start off with a short. Okay. This right here, not easy. Not easy. That this level right here, it's probably going to do something. No, not probably. It will do something. And it's probably going to be difficult. All right. So what I'm going to tell you is this. 75.80s will be hit. Might get hit before the market opens. It's just going to get hit. Okay. It's what you call a draw on liquidity. The market's going to be drawn here. Okay. So what I see here, if I'm short, if I want to see a short, I'm going to play up the 75.90s. Now, a couple things here. Okay. It can open up when we do this. Maybe we do this. Okay. Push up, reject. You got to get a quick test to that 75.90s. Then you target. This is a very quick target. Okay. I believe you get follow through on this. You should. Then 75.80s, you're going to hit yesterday's low, 75.71s. Okay. Next is the month to date anchor VWAP, which is 75.63. The next level would be 75.55s. Now, you aren't a lot of demand here. Okay. This can keep falling from ultimate balance. I have to remind myself of that. And even my fellow community members, I hope you remind me of that today. Sometimes I forget that ultimate balance gives monster moves. It really does. Okay. It really gives monster moves. Now, what else can we surmise here? Okay. What if we push up very quickly into the supply? And I want quick rejection. Boom, boom. Lower high. And I want to see go through ultimate balance to 75.80. Like I said, 75.71s, 75.55s. And maybe you get farther. There is so much overhead supply here. Okay. There's a lot of ways to cut this. 75.90s is what you want to play. Now, I'll give you one last one. If we come down and just sweep that level, let's say, and you get buying, and I'm like, oh, no. Those terminals are not strong. That's when you short 75.90 and goes for the same targets. Okay. Now, I'm going to have to give you one more because it's just honest. If you get a launch off the 75.90s, you take out this supply, there's so much overhead supply here. Okay. And you start to try to go into the overnight range up there. There's so much like crowding up there. Any rejection in here And this has to happen quick. Okay. You could look for a short up here. Okay. There's so much overhead supply. You just have to play that by ear. And I can't even say a level necessarily. Because if it kind of goes all the way up here to last week's high, sure. Let's just say last week's high, 76.27s. Maybe you get a nasty rejection. And let's say the Qs are pulling down. That's when you probably want to get short. Target 75.90s and the following levels below overnight lows 75.71s. I'm sorry, overnight lows 75.80s, 75.71s, yesterday's lows 75.55s. Okay. I know I just gave a lot of scenarios, but I have to be honest. That is another one. Okay. I have to be honest. This market is nuts. Now, is there longs? Sure. Okay. Is there longs? Sure. Now, Mag7 gets love, and I see ticks or something very green. Yeah, there might be an intraday long that I don't know about right now. Okay, the only thing I could say is what I would want to wait for is get that level taken out, 75.80s. Get the market ripping lower. Take out yesterday's lows. Now you're going to be into the band zone, right? And I know I have the month to date anchor view of 75.63s. I want to see how the market reacts here. This has to be quick. I don't want the market to get momentum to the downside. I want it to be quick, and I want neutral internals. I want to be like, wait a minute, tech's not that weak right now. Then I'll watch. If I get a lower high, I'm just going long, targeting 75.90. If you can hold 75.90, you guess right, you can rip up. Can you get to yesterday's highs? I don't know. 76.26. I don't know. This would be a monster. Okay. Honestly, that's all I'm going to give for the longs right now. I don't like them that much. Okay. Not with tech being that weak. I just don't like them unless tech has an amazing money flows today off the open. Nasdaq. Nasdaq. Okay. Let's get into the Nasdaq scenarios here. Ultimate balance is 297. Ultimate balance is 297. Okay. Okay. Ultimate balance is 297. Where is the market? Right here. 29441. We are yesterday's lows. So we have a range here, folks. 370 370s to 360s is your resistance. Remember, I talked about that before. Okay. To the downside, 29353s to 29325s. That's your bottom. This is our playground. Does it get support here today? Now, what I can tell you is that is a very ugly low. I think that gets taken care of today. The overnight lows, 29353s, is not excess, proper excess in a market. That does not usually end in auction. You need tails like that. Okay. So, with that being said, let's look at our levels today. Okay, let's break out the session. Okay. Multiple overhead supplies in the NASDAQ. And what I can think now, if there's a theme, if you own Micron, SanDisk, Western Digital, right, Intel, Sky Hynix, if you bought them and you're like, oh God, I bought that dip yesterday. This is not good. What could happen is if you get a nice push up, people are going to be like, I'm out. All right, great. I tried to buy the dip. That could possibly be the theme today. Okay. Now, shorts. Like I said, an overnight low looks pretty tasty. So what do you need to see? What I would need to see is a push up into the supply. Okay. Supply zone spans from 29502 to 29562. Okay. You get resistance in here. Boom. Lower high. Tech's getting some outflows. You target overnight lows, 29353s. And what I could say is below there, remember that bullish for value gap is below us. I say at least you take that out. Take that out. That bullish for value gap is from 29324 to 29226. It's from the past. It's poor structure. Okay? You possibly can just take that out. And maybe the market bounces from there. I don't know. Now, this one, next one I'm going to talk about, has to happen very quickly. So if all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, the market rips through this supply and then you have another supply here, what does it line up with though? Ultimate balance. If you come in here and you see this, oh my God, and then boom, rejection, retest the 297s, and you're like, oh, that's your short. Target overnight lows, 29353s, and then the end of that bullish for value gap and possibly lower. So what I would say here, if the market can accept price over 297s, I would be like, yeah, I'm not shorting that. Okay? I'm not shorting that. I'm not gonna do that. I know what generally happens. So longs. Okay? Now, we could do a couple things here. You could reject in this supply, right? Like I said, take out the overnight lows. If you get support in this full bullish for value gap in here, and all of a sudden you're back in the overnight range, and you put a higher low in, okay, this could launch like a rocket. I don't know if it'll happen, right? I just got to see if money unflows are coming to the microns, and you're seeing like, uh-oh, people are buying this today. You could rock it, and you're just going to target 297s. Okay? You could also rip lower. Okay? And also, like I said, you can open, rip down into that bullish for value gap. Same deal. Okay? Now, here's one more long. If the market does this, rip, comes out, and you're just like, oh my God, it took out all those supply zones, right? And then what does it do? Kind of just comes up here, and then you're just doing this and this and this. Let's say you get an hourly close above 297. Don't short. Okay? That is very bullish. Look for a pullback to 297 to go up. And maybe we tag the 360s. I don't know if this happens, but acceptance above 297, there will be a tempting short probably in there. Don't do it. Okay? So, overall market outlook, I'll leave you with. Here we go. Look at this market. Okay? Above 75.90 in the ES, it's kind of bullish. Okay? I have to say it. It is. Which makes the difficult market, right? We're under 297 in the NASDAQ, so just be very careful here. That's what I'm saying. The higher up in this session, still a short is still there. It's just a matter of can NASDAQ pull it down? I don't know. Right? It's all about where money flows goes. Okay, but this is very tempting, that 75.80s. That is a very key target. 75.80s, and you want to see what the 75.90s do. Okay? NASDAQ. 297 is what we're all about here in 297. That's ultimate balance, the most traded price of the month, most traded price of the week. We are below that. That is bearish. Okay? We just take out yesterday's lows. Now, that could spur a little profit take. So just be careful. Over 297 acceptance is time spent over 297. Do not short. Okay? Do not short. Unless you find that the market finds acceptance, then goes back under 297, then that's not acceptance anymore. Okay? That's what we're looking at today, folks. Please smash the like button if you enjoyed this analysis. As always, come join me every day. I do this every morning. Subscribe, set that alert, give you market news, technical analysis, and I just gave you the long, short trade scenarios in the NASDAQ and ES futures. Okay. Now, if you want more in-depth coverage, you're going to join my Discord. It's Confluence Trading. Go to my YouTube homepage, click on the link, and sign up. What are you waiting for? Let me be your indicator. Let me be your indicator. This is going to be exciting. I'm not going to lie. Today, it's going to be exciting. It's going to be hard. Be patient. Hopefully, you have a process. I'm going to try to follow myself. Okay. I've been very patient, sometimes too patient with some setups that have been hitting. Okay. So, everybody, no trade's a trade. Hope everybody has a great day. If I don't see you in my